Hello, everyone, and welcome to round 4 of the Game Day Squad live Aussie Rules show. I'm your host, Cal, and joining me, I've got the full team back. Kerm, Tom, fellas, how you doing?
Mate, I'm fantastic. I'm so pumped for this live stream because I've made some massive moves this week. And if you're not sure, my name is the Zeus Cannons in the classic competition. I'm not going to get into it now. I'm just way too pumped to talk about it. So let me just take a step back and I'll ease up because we will get into it soon.
We definitely will get into it. And I'm so keen to start talking footy. Round 4 is promising to be a big one. We got Collingwood versus the Brisbane Lions tonight, which is a sellout. So I'm so keen to get stuck into that. But before that, I'm here to talk footy with you guys.
Yeah, and it's been good having you around this week, Kerm, because for those who don't know, you are our resident Suns fan, and I think there are only a few of you in the country. So to have one with us this week has been awesome because you've been on cloud 9. But before we get into everything Game Day Squad, we want to talk, and that's why we're here. We're here because of Game Day Squad, Australia's best fantasy platform out there at the moment. So everything should be below in our description if you are seeing this for the first time. It is fantasy sports revolutionized. So make sure you jump in. And for all those people who have been following along, make sure you get your teams in for lockout tonight. It's a big round of footy, and we can't wait to get into it. So I believe we've got some listener submitted questions that have already come through on the Discord in preparation for this, but I believe we're going to be taking a few more, and there might be some packs involved as well. So I'm really excited to get into all of that. So make sure you are involved in the show by sending through your comments. But Kerm, I believe you're going to take it away with some team news. Now, I think we stuffed up because of the daylight savings. I don't think the teams have been announced. So you're going to get that crystal ball out, and we're going to know in an hour how well you went.
Yep, I'll try my best. And you did say it at the start, I am the resident Suns fan here. So I'll kick it off with the Suns news, and that is top 10 draft pick from 2022, Bailey Humphrey. He's going to be making his debut in a pretty keen and awaited debut for Suns fans. Everyone's been excited around his prospects for the team, so keen to see him get a run out there. Kangaroo star duo, Luke Davies-Uniacke and Jai Simpkin, they're going to be returning for those guys. Arguably 2023's biggest fantasy riser, Mason Wood. He has been outstanding for fantasy and the Saints. He had a bit of an injury scare late last week in their game, but he looks like he'll be suiting up against the Suns this week.
I'm going to stop you there. Biggest riser, or one of biggest risers. Did I hear that correctly? Because
I said arguably 2023.
Arguably, right.
Arguably 2023.
So there's a lot. Sheezel was about to enter the chat, but yeah, continue.
There are a lot of nominations for that award, but you can't deny that Mason Wood has been outstanding.
Has been very good, yes.
Elliot Yeo for the West Coast Eagles. Thank God he's going to be making his season debut because last week was an absolute bloodbath for the West Coast Eagles. They're going to be missing around 7 guys from the guys who started last week, including fantasy relevant players like Luke Shuey, Campbell Chesser, and Alex Witherden. So Elliot Yeo, there's no better time for him to make his season debut. Another season debut for a promising defender for fantasy this year is Mitch Duncan, another welcomed addition for the winless reigning champions. They'll look to get him on the ball as much as possible. For Richmond, Dustin Martin and Jacob Hopper are set to return, but they'll be without Jaden Short again this week, which will hurt their prospects. And for Collingwood, they have literally no ruckman left at the club. Darcy Cameron is out for this week. He was a good player of difference as well at the ruckman position. Last week he was outstanding before going down, but yeah, Darcy Cameron and Collingwood, literally no ruckman. I think Dan McStay is going to be pitch hitting in the ruck for them. So yeah, something to watch there. But that's enough for the league team news. That's what I got for my crystal ball. We're going to move into some of our own team news. So without a guest this week, we're going to be talking a lot about ourselves, which I'm sure you'll all enjoy a lot. But do you want to take us through it first, Tom? You spoke about it in the introduction. Take us away with your team news.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So I play in the classic competition for Game Day Squad Classic Represent for anyone who's out there. But my team is the Zeus Cannons, as I said before, and I really love the whole trading aspect. And when that was dropped, man, I just thought that this is my element. So I've been going with that, and I've been listing a couple trades, feeling out what the market's valuing players at. And one of the trades I did this week, and I spoke about it in our show on Monday, is I need to get my hands on a Nick Dacos. I'm just sick of it, right? I'm sick of not having Nick Dacos.
I know. Yeah, missing him. You were missing him.
Facts. So I needed to go out and get one, and it costed me a gold Brody Grundy, who right now is a really good prospect and is going to be scoring quite well. But long term, I'm not so sure. So I was happy to pull the trigger, but I feel like that was quite a fair trade back and forth because they might already have a bronze Nick Dacos. It was like a duplicate, and they're like, you know what, I'll take a gold Grundy for that. So I pulled that trade, and he slotted straight into my defenders there. The next one, though, this was a bit of a head scratcher. As I said, I was trying to feel out, and I put a silver Aaron Hall on the market. I listed a couple different players that I would take for this Aaron Hall, one of them being a silver Harry Sheezel. Now, this guy has been the talk of the town. The first 3 weeks, he has been he's going on a rampage, let's be honest. Like, this guy's fantasy scores is absurd.
Dude's pretty good.
Looking at the average on screen there, the silver one's averaging 152, which I think tells everyone that you were successful in that trade.
Very, I think. Yeah. So I pulled the trigger on that. I was so excited as well. I had to call Kerm straight after it and let him know that I caught myself a silver Harry Sheezel. I was jumping out of my seat, man. So yeah, I was super pumped about that. And hearing that team news, I've actually made a substitution live on the live stream, and that's that Mason Redmond there. He's actually hitting the bench, and Mitch Duncan is going to come in bronze.
Ooh,
so
interesting.
Yeah, life change. Didn't think I was going to do that, but heard the news. Loved Duncan from last year, so I had to put him in, running with the Zeus Cannons again. So yeah, that was my week, a big week, and I'm very optimistic for a good week here. And hopefully we can crack the top 10. That's what I'm hoping for.
Well, I just hated the fact that you got Sheezel because all week I've seen Kerm. Kerm's seen what you've done and gone, maybe I can put up rubbish trades to see what I can get away with. Apologies for the person on the other side of that Tom trade. But I have seen, some of the stuff you've been putting up, and I've been DMing you and being like, what are you trying to do here?
You never know. You never know. As I said to you, I mean, you just never know. You got to put the feelers out there. You never know what's going to come back to you. You're like Eric Hipwood. We spoke about Eric Hipwood in your DMs. How that guy got a 7-year contract. God knows he's probably going to kick 7 goals this whole season. So you never know what's going to fall in your lap.
You got to feel the market, don't you? You just got to find out. And if you don't try, then you'll never know. So yeah, that's why I've just been shooting my shot and hit a couple from downtown. So love to hear that. But why don't we move on? Callum, you're also a classic competition man like myself. I want to see what you've got this week. Let's do it.
Yeah, before I do that, just seeing in the comments there, I'm waiting for Dos to come back in and actually say something about Eric Hipwood kicking that many goals because he's maybe the only Eric Hipwood fan out there. Jay's just asked if those were actually, there you go, right on schedule, Dos. But Jay, I can see, I know that's Jay. He's asked, are they crypto punks? No, so they someone I believe on Twitter is called Footy Bit. So we reached out to them and got some custom GDS ones made up last year or the year before that. So we've all got one, as you'll see on my screen just there. And as I talk about my team, guys, I made a few changes because unfortunately you can see I'm actually trailing you, Tom, which is kind of my benchmark. I don't mind where I fit, but I just want to get that. I just want to get it over you.
What do you mean, unfortunately? That's very fortunate.
Yeah.
Love that.
We'll see. Well, I made 3 changes to my team this week. The first one was that I finally took Jack Steele out of my team after I forgot to take Jack Steele out of my team last week. So yes, I'm a clown for that one. But I brought in Josh Kelly, who is a gun and is good at football, so he will help me. Blakey is out of my defense, and in comes Tom Stewart, who had a monster week last week. So that is a huge upgrade there for me. And Dylan Moore, who I think has become your guy, Tom. You've worn me down. I finally brought him in.
Yeah.
I actually replaced Zach Butters. So, and you know how much I love that guy. So that one was hard to do, but they were my ins and outs this week. I was actually trying to trade my gold Dylan Moore for a bronze Isaac Heaney and a bronze Sheezel. The deal had been accepted, and then it got pulled at the last minute. So I was devastated with that. I couldn't get the Sheezel into my team. But I did actually sell a silver Doherty for about $10. So that's going to fund some packs after this show tonight before lockout. So hopefully trying to get a silver or gold Oliver or that Sheezel that I've been after. So yeah, hopefully this week we'll go big. But yeah, keen to see how we go. But talking about going big, Kerm, you play in the open competition. How is your team looking? I know you took it out last week. Congratulations again. We don't need to go over it. We did enough on Monday. Talk us through, what have you done? What's your team looking like?
Yeah, you would think for somebody who won the open week last Open League last week, you wouldn't make that many changes, but I think I've gone ahead and made about 8 changes this week. It's been a bit of a bloodbath in my team. The big one in my defense was Angus Brayshaw. I took him out for Will Day, who's quietly been killing it for the Hawks. I think he's been so good in getting some CBAs, 122 GDS average so far. So I'm going to ride that train for as long as I can. I've also put in Luke Ryan, who I think is going to bounce back in a little bit of a big way this week. He went ballistic in the first 2 rounds, but died down a little bit in the third round. I think he goes off again this week. Into my midfield is Lockie Neal. And this is a bit of a controversial one because I've talked some smack. Yeah, a little bit about Lockie Neal and his handball to kick ratio, but I read a stat. 15 of his last 16 games at the Gabba, he's gone 25 disposals plus. So hoping that trend continues against Collingwood tonight in a massive hit out. I think he's going to be good for me this week. If he can reach that 120 GDS point mark, I'll be pretty stoked with that. And in the forward line, I've brought in Isaac Smith, who, again, has been killing it for Geelong, as bad as they have been on the field. He's been one of their bright lights. And with Mitch Duncan coming back in, the ball should be pinging around 112 GDS average so far. Isaac Smith is into the team. But the big player I don't have in my team is that diamond, Nick Dacos. If anybody can give me, I will send you as many cards as you want back. Nick Dacos, I need him in my team. Hit me up on Discord because I need that guy so bad.
You don't need anyone.
Don't we all? Don't we all need ourselves? Nick
the rich
Dacos.
need to get richer.
Yeah, can you talk to me about your ruck situation? Because you've got your Tim English. He's the platinum there.
Yes.
He's the only platinum we can see on the screen. He's got an average of almost 170, higher than the diamond of Marshall 155. Why have you gone that this week?
Well, I actually wanted to go with a Grundy card, which I actually don't have. Grundy against the West Coast Eagles has the potential to go ballistic in round 4 before Max Gawn comes back. They've been very conservative with Max Gawn. But Rowan Marshall, his game last week I watched live and I love the way he was getting around the ground. His contested pack marking has been absolutely absurd. And I know Tim English is the same. But when you get to this sort of point in the season, you need to start playing players that other teams aren't. And frankly, English being as good as he has been, he's going to be in a lot of teams. He's going to be the number 1 ruck for a lot of teams in the Open League. So I've swayed when people have swerved, and I've gone with Rowan Marshall to hopefully pip him for points this week.
No, fair enough. Fair enough.
So yeah, those are my ins and outs.
Well, I believe because we don't have a special guest this week, we had someone lined up and they just unfortunately pulled out today. Hopefully we will get things rolling back again next week because we love having the different people from the community on this show. But Kerm, I believe you've got an extended mailbag. You've got some people on Discord that have shot some through and I believe they're going to win some packs for it. But do you want to take it away? Absolutely.
And I'll dictate where these questions are getting pointed to. Tom, I'll start with you. And this is from the Warner Bros on Discord, as we said. His question was, which young player has had the most disappointing start to the year and is worth a buy low on the transfer market right now?
Yeah. Okay. Firstly, great question, Warner Bros. Bit hard to pinpoint one. I reckon there's a couple candidates for this, but I'm going to, and I'm going to go with Nick Martin or Nicholas Martin from the Essendon Bombers. He currently plays as a forward. Now, 2022 was a great year for Nick Martin, but his first 2 rounds this year, he just couldn't seem to find the footy. Didn't play too good, but round 3, that was a different story, and it was a relief for a lot of the Nick Martin believers out there. I'll quickly run through some stats. So 19 kicks, 9 handballs, 7 marks, 1 tackle, and kicked 1 goal, 2 in the game. So pretty good game. Great game.
Yeah, very good game.
In my opinion, even after last round, he's still flying under the radar. I don't think a lot of people have Nick Martin on their radars and aren't really going out and trying to get Nick Martin cards. So I think that's the perfect candidate for what you're asking. Like, he's super buy low right now, and long term, Nick Martin's looks like he's going to be a stud. So go get yourself a Nick Martin, because you know what, he might not be in your team this year, but we're a dynasty platform. In 2-3 years' time, it could be a top 5 forward, top 6 forward. So you may as well hang on and see where it takes you.
It's true, and it's very typical of Tom to overlook his boys at Sydney, James Rowbottom and Chad Warner, who have been stinking it up so far this season. But we will move on. It was a good answer nonetheless. Cal, I'll point this towards you, and it's from Brennan JMS, again on Discord. He says, any news on what's happening with prizes beyond this round in round 4?
Beyond this round, no. So we have not yet announced the prizes, either the weekly or seasonal competitions beyond this week. Everyone would have seen a post go out today that we have been for the last few weeks doing over 10,000 per week. So full details were on that post. But that does mean we have an announcement coming next week, and that'll be for the future round. So make sure you're glued to all our socials because it will be coming out there at some point.
Yeah, absolutely. Keep an eye on all the socials regarding prizes, platform enhancements, features, etc., etc. It all gets posted on there for all our users. And Cal, I'll back it up with another one, and this is from Dacos Explanation Point. He says, do you have any news or ideas about a new capped or other different league that might be introduced next year or even this year for this season?
Yeah, the great thing, because we are so new as a company, as a platform, we still have a lot of stuff that we want to deliver on. And we've got a lot of great ideas that aren't there yet, but I'm sure we will be seeing over the next few years, I should say. But we had hoped at the start of this year to get a third competition in, and that was going to be somewhere in the middle between the open and the classic competition. So around about, I think it was about a 14 million salary cap we were aiming for. So I'm sure at the end of the year, we'll sit back and we'll review to sort of see, if that's something that potentially we could do for next year. But the other thing we want to do, and because we've got the cards, we really want to explore what the other opportunities available to us. Things like, can we do a competition for events like Gather Rounds that's coming up? Can we do events for the AFL Finals Series? Can we do things for like State of Origin and even the World Cup and the rugby league side? So we've got a lot available to us. So what I'd say is that while we've got those two main competitions there and we've got the private competitions, I'd say that's only scratching the surface of what we've got to potentially doing. So yeah, I'm super excited. Nothing has been formally confirmed yet, but yeah, definitely lots of options for us to work with moving forward.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to be excited for GDS-wise going forward, but I'm actually going to put myself in the firing line for this question, and it's from Fighting Fury. He says, if there was one player from the entire history of the AFL that you could add to AFL GameDay Squad, who would it be? Obviously, this is a tough question, but I think I thought about it a little bit before the show. I think I'm going to go with the original pig, Dane Swan. And you don't really need too much convincing, but he was absolutely unreal for a good amount of time as well for AFL Fantasy. And the other player you can put into that conversation is Michael Barlow. Everyone remembers his rookie year and how good he was, and he was pretty much usable for his entire career. The guy was just an absolute ball magnet for Freo and then the Suns later on in his career. So between those two, I don't think you can go really wrong. I think Dane Swan will be the more popular choice out of the two, but for another option, it would be Michael Barlow.
Left field Barlow there. I can see Minnow15 on YouTube, Tom. Someone is listening to you, which is great because we don't always listen to your advice. But hey, a platinum Nick Martin for $2 is a steal. So
absolutely.
Wow.
And can I just say, you don't always listen to my advice, but told you to get a Dylan Moore last week, and there's one in the lineup. That's all I'll say. My hands are up. My hands are clean, but I just wanted to leave that there.
The gospel man, Tom Zrilich. But we'll move swiftly onwards, and I'll point this question to both of you guys. I'd like an answer from both of you, and it's from Fighting Fury again, so he's going to get 2 packs sent his way. And because you guys are both in the capped league, what are some different strategies and ideas on how to best fill out your capped limited teams, particularly for new players like myself? We'll go to you first, Cal.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yep. What I think what you've got to do when you're first starting off is the bronze cards, particularly in the capped competition, are really, really valuable. So even though you can't buy and sell bronze cards, they are really critical to making your team, because if you've got players that are gun in bronze, then you can actually, that's the foundation of your team. And then you can work up and get silvers through, if you don't want to spend any money, there's referrals and there's things like this where you get packs, and there's also the Discord competition. I'm sure Tom's going to shout out about in a little bit as well. So I would be saying really look at those bronze players and using them as your foundation, trying to trade bronze for bronze, getting the players you want, because you do get a lot of bronze cards over time for just jumping on. So yeah, really focus and try to find deals. Be active in the Discord and be like, hey, I've got these 3 bronze or these 4 bronze players, but I want to trade them for an Errol Goulden. I want to trade them for this. And over time, really start building out your team. And then when you can start to add on the silver players, if you want to start spending money on the transfer market, then it becomes a lot easier because you know what holes you get to fill around your team. So that'd be my little bit of advice. Good question.
What about you? Yeah, very good question. What about you, Tom?
Yeah, mine's quite similar to Callum in response, but mine's more specifically targeting duplicate players because just the way the game is, it's random all the players you're going to get that you will find that you're going to have duplicate players. Like I had 3 gold Grundy, the start of this week. It just happens. But what you should be doing with these players is rather than them just sitting in your club and, doing nothing, list them up on the transfer market and try to fill some holes that you don't have. So I'm sort of going with the motto that the more diversity you have in your club, that the easier it's going to be to field a team every week. And especially you want to be looking at different gradings of cards. And in capped, I personally don't play over gold just because of the salary cap and I would have to forfeit too many other positions. But you would just need to be very conscious that if you are going to be a platinum, it probably needs to be one of the better scoring players for the week or a diamond. Like you really need to try to nail that on the head or just have really good diversity across the field and play it like that. But yeah, great question because it's important. And honestly, I don't get it right every week either. So I can give you this advice, but sometimes it's just the way the cookie crumbles.
And can I give one more, Kerm? Because I'm seeing it work for people. So if you do have a whole bronze team and you're looking around and going, well, I can't compete with people with silvers and golds, then really think about winning those weekly competitions because you do get prizes for that, whether that be the cash prizes or the packs that go out with it. So play a lot of point of difference players and really target the weekly competitions, particularly if you're starting later in the season, because who cares what you finish seasonal? But if you finish in the top 20 and get prizes for 5 of the next 20 weeks, then you're laughing. You've got a team you're set up ready to go for next year and you can do what you want for the seasonal competition because the great thing about us, it's a dynasty platform and you get to keep your cards from year to year. So yeah, I'd definitely be looking for that as well. But yeah, it's great because we are so new. There's so many different ways you could be thinking about it. So yeah, that's not to say that these are the ways. I'm sure there's other great ways how to start your team out there.
No, some gold nuggets there from some Classic League veterans. Both of you finished top 10 last year in 2022. So take that information and advice and run with it, I guess. But with the last question from the community, I'll hand it to both of you again. Bit of a quick one. It's from DB21. Which upcoming feature are you guys most excited to release? I'll go with you first again, Carl.
I'm going to go transfer market data. That was one of the things I was always looking forward to the most. I love the gameplay and there's some really, really cool stuff coming out there. But for me, I want to be able to click and see average, trending, all that sort of stuff because it helps that last question we just had, right? I'm sure the price of someone like Isaac Heaney is falling through the floor at the moment. So being able to see that and be like, well, I'd much rather Heaney for the next 5 years. He's not valued that. Once you get that data, I think people are going to love that side of the game. And yeah, me personally, that's what I am looking forward to the most.
That'll be so big. I'm looking forward to that myself. And what about you, Tom?
Yeah, any chance to throw a jab at a Swan, eh, Cal? Like that.
Mate, he's been in terrible form.
He has been terrible, Tom. Even you need to admit that.
Yeah. Look,
watch him kick 10 goals against Port tomorrow. 100%. Maybe sitting on the couch miserable.
But for me, it's the GameDay Squad draft. No other feature makes me more excited than what we're going to do in that scene. I don't know how much I can talk about it, but yeah, I think that's enough said. If you like drafts and you know what a draft is, GameDay Squad draft, get pumped about it. Very excited.
Yeah, don't say too much on that yet because we've got to figure out when that is coming. But we've got a question there. Is there scope to burn cards to upgrade? Yes, that is something we've definitely looked into. So we are potentially looking for something where you're able to, burn the cards. We're just working through the mechanics of that at the moment. Because agree, there are a lot of players, whether they retire, that you want to be able to, burn them. We're also looking at other things like squad building challenges. So we can actually find unique ways to burn those cards. So it's not just delisting like, quick selling like it is on something like FIFA Ultimate Team. But yeah, good question.
Good questions all around. And that's it for all the community questions.
100%. Well, let me take it away then with the Discord plug. Callum mentioned it before, so it's free to join our Discord. Get on there. We have a weekly competition, and what we do is we ask you who's going to be the highest scorer for the round. And if you can guess that correctly, we give you a 3 times player common pack. We also ask additionally for the exact score they're going to have in that round. And if you can get that right, we'll chuck in on top a bonus 3 times player rare pack. So as I mentioned, it's free to join. Just comment who you think is going to be the highest scorer on a given week. Give the score, and you just never know. You might get 2 free packs that week if you're very lucky, or maybe 1 if you're a little bit lucky.
Yeah, jump on that now. If you haven't already, it's the easiest way to win packs. All you've got to do is say who's going to score well. Guys, we are going to do some buy, sell, sell. And I believe we're going to change it up this week. We don't have a community member. So, Tom, I believe we're going to pick you. And we're bringing your screen up. Hopefully this works. You guys can see Tom's screen there.
Yes.
Beautiful. That's worked well. I believe you're going to take it away, Tom. So we're going to have got 3 packs to open, and we're each going to have a crack at one.
Yep. Well, seeing as let's just start from the top. Callum, you're at the top of all of us in the live stream. So we're going to do buy, sell, sell for you first. I guess good luck.
Yeah, so I'm keen for this. It's keen to be in the driver's seat for this segment.
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about being in the driver's seat. It's a lot easier, like being sitting there passenger. So for this game,
silver, gold. Okay, I love hovering over.
So before you flip them, Tom, just to clarify what this game is: buy, sell, sell. So I get to keep, and Tom's going to transfer me the card I choose to buy here. But the 2 cards I choose to sell, Tom has to list on the transfer market sometime tonight for 1 cent. So whether sometime during the show all the way up to the end of the footy tonight, Tom's going to be dropping some of these cards. So yeah, let's hope there's some no-brainers in there so I can strengthen my team for the weekend.
I'll tell you what, I listed them last week, and before I could even list the second player, they were absorbed. So I will warn you, if you are looking for one of these players, they are going to go very, very quickly. But Callum, here's your 3 players: Baker, Highmore, and Marchbank. Gold. Who are you going to take?
There's an obvious choice here.
Is there? Who's Highmore?
Well, that rules one out, I think. With that little
Jeez. Can I phone a friend?
No, we're not giving you that opportunity.
I don't know the averages. Am I going to make a howler here? I'm going to keep Marchbank and just hope.
God.
Have I stuffed up? I don't even know. I don't even know how. I've never heard of him. Don't know if he's a rookie.
I think Baker was the choice there, but we'll move on.
Baker was the one player I knew, but I was just banking that Marchbank maybe had a future, but by that reaction,
that's good. That means Baker's going on the transfer market for 1 cent later. So you've done everyone a service there.
Yeah, exactly. Good guy, Cal. Good guy, Cal.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. You're welcome.
I don't think it was intentional, but we got a bigger animation, which means we have a bit of fire here. There it is.
I've also already got 2 gold Marchbanks, so now I'm going to have 3. So
Bergman, Tommy Hawkins.
McDonald. Oh,
does that make it a decision?
I think it does, and I like Bergman more than I obviously like Hawkins. We've spoken about it on the show. We are a dynasty platform. Hawkins is in, unfortunately for Geelong fans, in the twilight of his career. Bergman's actually shown a little bit so far this season.
He looks good on that wing. Yeah,
he does. He really looks good. But Tom McDonald, it's tough because he's got that pitch hitting ruck ability as well, which he can get into the guts, and he can swing both sides of the 50. He can play defense and play in the forward line. Because I'm in the open league, I'm going to take the platinum and Tom McDonald, which means you guys are going to be getting a Hawkins and Cal's guy Bergman for a cent.
That he's going to get a run in the ruck. Do you know about the Melbourne Demons ruckman this year?
One of them's injured.
I was going to say one of them's not playing for
when they're back, mate. There's no chance this guy gets a sniff in the ruck.
He's never going to be the solo ruck, but he has shown in the past that he can get some pitch hitting ruck.
Yeah, you're right.
Going. So I'll take him. You guys can have Bergman and Hawkins.
Alrighty, that leaves it to me. Buy, sell, sell. Good luck.
Come on,
I'll take a legend, but that's not the legend animation.
That's not a legend.
See you later. Couple golds. All right. Mr. George. Finlayson.
Your boy.
That's my guy. Shout out to East Coast
Harrison
Eagles.
Petty.
Nah, I'm taking my boy Finlayson. Get him. He's coming to the club. He's coming to the Zeus Cannons. We'll look after him there. So Petty, George, going to be on the transfer market for a cent.
Boom. That was exciting. I like that. It was a pressure situation. It was good.
I really hope just one day there's a legend. Like, there just has to be a legend, Paul.
There's got to be one day, yeah.
Like a double legend pack, and we have to choose between one and the other, and putting one on 1 cent. I'd like to just get one normally. Yeah. Must be nice, Kerm.
Okay, but up next we have some trade battles, and again, without a special guest, we're going to be pointing it towards ourselves. So I've got two each for you guys, and we're going to be starting off with Callum. If you want to switch slides here, and so for those who don't know, the man who must not be named legend card versus his man Ken Hinkley, head coach of the Port Adelaide Power. Where are you going with this one, mate?
This is the best trade I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, wow. Yeah, there's some history with the Zeeble card.
There is.
But there's also a lot of history with Ken Hinkley. The history with Zeeble's only been going on for 12 months. The history with Hinkley's been going on for 11 years. So I'm going to pick the legend Jack Zeeble, and Hinkley can please leave.
And that is smart, by the way, because your boy, the man who must not be named, is averaging a quite 120 GDS fantasy points a game at the moment. So he has turned it around, and we do know your feelings towards Big Kenny Boy as well. So smart choice, mate.
Jeez, get him off the screen. Give the next one up.
So I'm going to test Tom's alliance here. We know that he loves Harry Sheasel, but I've put him up against Errol Goulden and Luke Parker. So you've got a mix of both Dynasty and someone who's been around for a little bit.
Yeah.
And the rookie gold Sheasel card. Who are you taking here?
Let me tell you, if I was a new team, like just join the platform, 100% I take the Swans, because Parker's a great midfielder. Not one of the elite ones, but he's great. He's solid. You know what you're going to get from him every year. And Goulden is a rising star. But it's hard because I feel like Sheasel and Goulden long-term could get position changes. In their current position right now, they're both elite options. But Errol Goulden's special. He has a left peg, a right peg. He's just as good on either foot. Like, that type of skill set is quite unique and quite rare. And I think that's going to take him a long way in his career. So I'm sticking with my boys. Give me Errol Goulden. But I want to see the chat. Do people reckon I got that right? Did I get that right? Sheasel's been pretty good.
Sheasel's been insane.
You got that wrong. If it was a silver Sheasel, yes. For a gold one, I think you've got that one wrong. But hey, that's what we love about this game.
You do. It gets mixy when you bring in rarities and stuff like that. But we'll move on to the next one, and we're going to be staying in Sydney.
Is this a legit one now?
This is a legit one. This is a legit one. Two young guns against another pair of young guns in Sydney. The Sydney Derby, James Rowbottom, Chad Warner, they've been, as I said before, disappointing, to be honest, to start the season. Tom Green has set the league alight, and Aaron Cadman is yet to make his debut, but is an exciting prospect. So where are you going with this one, Cal?
This is a really good one because you've got Green, who's a star now and likely to finish top 6 as a forward this year and make our squad of the year. Cadman, who could dominate it for years to come. And then you've got Warner, who could win a Brownlow, and Rowbottom, one of my favorite players in the comp. So you know me well here. It is a tough one, but I'm going to lean with the Swannies just because my love for Rowbottom is very high. And Cadman might be great, but you just never know as a key forward what that means in fantasy. And we know that key forwards are a little bit better in GameDay Squad compared to the old platforms because of the goal scoring. But I still think Warner and Rowbottom could be two of your 5 midfielders.
Yeah, you tell them, bro.
So.
You tell them.
You can see Tom celebrating down the bottom because him and Cal have actually agreed on something for once. But no, I agree for the most part as well. As good as Tom Green is, the two Sydney guys there are absolute. They could be anything. They could genuinely be anything. But on to the last one for you, Tom. And it's going to be a battle for tonight. And I want to know who you're picking specifically for tonight. Josh Dunkley or Nick Dacos.
That's good. That's good.
Really good. And I actually have both bronzes in my team. So this is an actual, could happen. But tonight, going Nick Dacos, man. Honestly, the way that he started the season, that just shot out of my mouth because I was thinking about it. And then I was like, actually, no, just take the layup. I had a wide open layup. I just needed to take it. Nick Dacos has been unreal. He's honestly, in my opinion, the favourite for the Brownlow right now. The way he has Collingwood firing on all cylinders, just controlling it from the back line in the middle. Dude, he is special. He's in his second year in the AFL. Give me Nick Dacos. Wow. I struggled so hard to get a bronze. Couldn't imagine getting my hands on one of those. So give it to me.
Dude can play. Dude can definitely play. But that'll take us to the end of the trade battles for this week.
Just want to get through some of the comments. Some nice words have come through from Austin. So appreciate your support, mate. Love having you on board and glad that you're enjoying it. We hope we can continue to develop the game out and make it as enjoyable for everyone going forward. And Dos wanted to give me stick about being a Port fan and eating our own. I'll let you know, Ken Hinkley's been there for 11 years. I think it is more than fair. If you don't believe me, go check out any of Hef's podcasts recently. I believe he said similar stuff. What have we got next, fellas? We're almost done here. Lock of the round. So we didn't have a community member submit anything this week. So I think, like last week, I'm actually going to protest and say that the community, for not showing up this week, should also get the 0 like I got last week with LDU coming out. But what do you think? I've heard different responses there. Does anyone in the chat want to submit a community vote? We'll
100%.
We'll open it up to the floor. We'll see.
I can go through the chat.
Yeah. We'll see if anyone submits it before we go through our teams. Me and Tom, you said we're not on the same wavelengths. Well, sometimes we are, and that's that we think Clayton Oliver's going to have a big weekend. We've locked him in for scores of 125. And Tom, you've gone a little bit higher with 132. You think he's going to have a big night as well?
Yeah, you've been playing it safe all year, mate. It's time to get out of your comfort zone and go a bit higher, I reckon. So I'm going 132, 100%.
Yeah. And Kerm, you've gone with Grundy. You really think he's going to have a huge week this week. And I know you were devastated not to get him into your team, but I think you'll be right, mate.
I hope I'm right. I really do hope I'm right. I think, to keep the Melbourne theme going in this lock of the round, the guy's going to go ballistic. I think he's got Bailey Williams against him. And he showed some vintage Grundy efforts last week, which were really good to see. So it's good to see him playing well more than anything. It's good to see him actually on the park and killing it again. So, I got him for 120 points this week. And unfortunately, it looks like no one sent through a lock of the
submit
round.
one. Come on, right now, submit it. Give us a player, give us a score, add it into the community.
Go on, Dos, give us a lock of the round.
And Footy is back. So we believe we kick off what's in about an hour or so, but I think that's going to do us for tonight. It doesn't look like we're going to get a community submission at the buzzer, but there's still a minute left while I wrap this up. But thank you everyone for joining us again for another live show. We really enjoy doing this. And this is, of course, all brought to us by GameDay Squad. So you've got an hour before you get your teams in for lockout. So reach out to us on Discord. We'll be available if there's any questions or anything that you have before the start of the round. Guys, is there anything you want to say before we kick things off?
Nah, shout out to Minnow.
I should say.
Got it in. Mac, 130.
Have we got one?
Yeah. Oscar McInerney, 130.
Lock it in. That's the community vote this week.
Minnow, if you pull that off, there will be a pack for you on Monday. Because I don't know what Oscar McInerney is averaging. I'd 100?
He could be going up against Ash Johnson tonight.
Again, he's not going up against anyone. So I do love it. That's a great one. So we'll make sure we've got a way of contacting you on Monday if that comes off. If it comes off, I'm sure you'll be contacting us. So appreciate everyone's support. Oh, sorry, Tom, you go.
No, shout out for everyone for joining the live stream. Yeah, and good luck this week. It's going to be a big week. I can't wait to get into it and see tonight's game. It's going to be fantastic. So enjoy it.
Looking forward. Thanks as always, fellas, and we'll see you back for our usual show on Monday. See you later.